Fire it up, footballers. James here, Spitting Fire. Footballers, I'm looking at something I can't quite believe. I mean, my inbox is white hot. I got a bunch of trolls in here sending me footage of something that is mind-blowing. I'm looking at footage of a bet that supposedly disappeared. We'll get into that and more on Week 3 MLS Parlay Builder here on Spitting Fire. Here we go again, footballers. Thanks for joining us here on Spitting Fire, where we aim to help build your parlay so you can score hundreds to thousands of dollars off a nice little lotto ticket on MLS action. So let's get right into the action here. We're starting off with CCL combatants meeting up fresh after a game. New York City having played on Tuesday, Montreal having just started their game here on Wednesday night when I recorded this. We ran the simulations here at Spitting Fire. That's something we do. We give you the simulations, we give you what Vegas says, and we give you what we're saying to help you build the best parlay builder you can. Usually take between 3 to 4 to 5 teams, ties and wins, and boom, there you go. You have odds typically upwards of turning $5 into sometimes 200, sometimes 1,000. Depends how these odds are built on your particular app and Vegas that particular day. We'll get right into it. New York City taking on Montreal. Looks like we ran the simulation here and 70% tie is the prediction. I stand by that prediction as well. That's what I'm saying. Vegas is saying tie. There's reasons behind this. We did the math. We looked up the numbers. We looked up the history. CCL teams typically struggle during the weeks that they are inside of this tournament. And that means they might do well inside the tournament, but when it comes to the league, they prioritize the tournament at first for the beginnings of the year. Later during the year, when the tournament's no longer going on, that's when those CCL teams tend to open up and get those wins back. So expect those CCL teams to struggle and either get losses or ties typically over these next few weeks while they get some CCL action against some Liga MX teams. Montreal has a 20% win chance and New York City with a 10% chance rate. Don't yell at me. This is what we ran with the simulations, and that's how it turned out. Montreal won 20% of the simulations. Vegas says tie, James says tie. Start there. Moving on to the next match. LAFC is the clear favorite as we get into Inter Miami's second home match of the season. LAFC is the odds-on favorite from Vegas. I say LAFC, and LAFC get a 50% tip in the simulations. 30% tie, 20% to Miami. Build your parlays accordingly. Columbus and Toronto next. 50% tie possibility when we ran the simulations. Otherwise, Columbus took away 30%, Toronto took 20%. Vegas predicts Columbus to win. James, I'm thinking a tie. Up next, Seattle Sounders versus LA Galaxy. Simulations suggested a 60% tie rate. 30% of the games Seattle won and 10% of the games were won by Galaxy in those simulations. Vegas says tie, James says tie. I'm looking at that Seattle coming off some CCL action, and I think they're going to have some tired legs against Chicharito, but all the same, will Chicharito and company be able to mount up a solid attack while in Seattle's home stadium? I'm not so sure about that. And Seattle sat about half of its team for that CCL game, so that you'll have to keep that in mind. There, of course, probably will prioritize putting out a superior lineup on next Wednesday against their CCL opponent, so you can look towards this weekend, maybe them playing a less powerful side than is typical for Seattle. However, despite that less than powerful typical side, an atypical side, if you will, they still got things done. They may still get things done in Seattle against LA Galaxy, and that's why I'm thinking a tie. Houston Dynamo versus Vancouver at Houston. We ran the simulations. 40% Vancouver won, 40% of them Houston won. 20% of them turned into a tie. Maybe you could just turn it into a 100% tie. What do you think here, folks? Let us know in the comments below what your picks are for the week, what your parlay is that you want to let us know, and we could ride with you. Vegas says Houston. I'm saying Vancouver. maybe we meet somewhere in between. Let us know where you guys feel about Houston and Vancouver, in addition to your Parlay Builder, your special one lotto ticket that you're looking this week to make some scratch on. Philadelphia versus San Jose is next. We ran the simulations, and surprisingly, Philadelphia won 90% of them. It boggled our minds. 10% of those turned into a tie. San Jose didn't win a single simulation. Vegas says Philly. We're saying Philly. There it is for you folks. That's probably our bet, our lock of the week right there. Philadelphia taking on San Jose in Philadelphia. Lock for Philly to win or tie. New England versus Real Salt Lake is the next game we have up, and that'll be at 6:30 on March 12th, Saturday. Of course, all these games will be taking place on Saturday, March 12th and Sunday, March 13th. That game is also including a CCL opponent in New England, so they may have some tired legs having played on Tuesday. Real Salt Lake may be able to capitalize that in New England's stadium. Simulations predicted 60% tie rate. 20% of the simulations were won by New England, the other 20% by RSL. Vegas is saying New England. Spinning Fire is saying tie. I think you could count on a tie or a loss for New England. You heard it here first on Spinning Fire. Because of course I'm saying those CCL legs are going to be tired, and they're going to prioritize going into next Tuesday or Wednesday when they play their next CCL game away in Mexico into trying to get their best team out there, which means a less powerful team this weekend taking on RSL, which means to me tie or loss. Of course, guys, these are to help you build your parlays. You could toss in a couple wins, toss in a tie or two from what you think is going to be a surefire tie, and all of a sudden you have 3 or 4 games or 5 games built together, and those odds look chef's kiss beautiful when you put down a little couple dollar bet. Make sure you go and check out Sons of a Pitch Soccer Central on YouTube. Of course, we have his channel connected to us in the channels tab on our Spitting Fire YouTube page to make that easy to get to. He is our resident MLS betting guru, where we get a lot of our MLS tips, and we usually start building our parlays by going to his site every week. So make sure you subscribe to Sons of a Pitch Soccer Central on YouTube. Getting into the halfway point here, we are at Orlando versus Cincinnati. Orlando won 50% of our simulations. 40% of them turned into a tie. 10% were won by Cincy. Might seem surprising, but hey, it's a coin flip sometimes. Not so much of a coin flip. We have other things that are in play that help weigh things, and boom, there it is. Orlando is predicted by Vegas, and we also going with Orlando at home against a weakened Cincinnati side. And of course, if you want to support Spitting Fire, go ahead and take a look at Spitting Fire Shop on bonfire.com. Got some awesome secret loot. Shh. Keep it secret. Keep it safe. We also have an NFT available that will greatly help the Chicago Fire community. Half the proceeds of that purchase price go right to the Fire for Food drive, which is something we love to support here on Spitting Fire. A great fundraiser put together by the fans of Chicago Fire. It's the fifth annual Fire for Food drive. We already smashed that goal of $10,000 just before we even hit our second game of the season. So it's been extended to $25,000 for the entirety of the rest of MLS season. So let's kick that goal's butt, Chicago Fire fans and MLS fans. Greatly appreciate any amount that you're able to donate. Every dollar counts. A dollar can go up, support can create up to 3 meals. It's incredible what the Chicago Greater Food Depository is able to do with those dollars for the people who need it. Getting right back into our winning ways here on Spitting Fire. Hopefully you are building the biggest and best parlay you've ever built, and we're gonna make some money this week and all throughout the rest of MLS season. Next on the dock is my favorite team, Chicago Fire, taking on DC United at DC. Simulation suggested 50% tie rate. Watch out for Gago Slonina snagging all those expected goals from DC United. Chicago Fire surprisingly won 30% of the simulations. 20% were won by DC. Vegas, of course, saying DC. Chicago Spitting Fire saying Chicago Fire. Maybe it's somewhere in between, because Chicago Fire have been on a 2-tie game tear at the moment. Gago Slonina having 2 clean sheets in a row. Will he get a third? We'll see this week at 6:30, March 12th. And of course, we'll be live at 6 p.m. here on Spitting Fire's YouTube channel. So if you subscribe and hit that bell icon, you'll know about when we go live for that live stream and watch party. We always have a blast watching the Chicago Fire and other MLS matches here on Spitting Fire. Couple matches left for you. FC Dallas versus Nashville. Simulation suggests Nashville will win 50% of these games if played. 40% would be it would result in a tie. 10% will be a Dallas win, even though this is at Dallas. It seems that Nashville is in just such good form and such dominant, has just such a dominant roster that FC Dallas, with all of its young kids, may struggle even at home. Vegas says tie. Spitting Fire says Nashville pulls off their first win, or their second win of the season, and they surprise in Dallas. Colorado and Sporting Kansas City next on the docket. Simulation suggests a 40% win rate for Colorado. 30% of the matches would end up in a KC victory, and 30% will end up in a tie. It is played in Colorado. Vegas saying Colorado. Spitting Fire saying Colorado. Portland versus Austin. Is Austin FC for real or not? We will find out this weekend in Portland. Simulation suggests 50% win rate for Austin FC, 30% tie rate, and 20% for the home team. What is going on here? I am not so sure about that. Portland is a really good team here. Sometimes you got to question these simulations. You know, it is a simulation. They do what they can with the tools that we allot them, and boom, there it is. But all the same, there might be something to them. Vegas suggesting a tie. Spitting Fire saying Austin goes out there and surprises Portland and its fans, takes home a win back to Austin. Atlanta United versus Charlotte is our first game on Sunday. That'll be at 3:30 p.m. Simulation suggests 50% of the games of this game played would be won by Atlanta. 40% would result in a tie, and 10% of them would be a Charlotte win. Vegas saying Atlanta is going to take it. Spitting Fire saying that too. New York Red Bulls and Minnesota FC, our final match of the week. And of course, smash that like button. Greatly appreciate you guys hanging out and getting your parlay building tips here on Spitting Fire, where of course we will be doing this throughout the year, and we'll be kicking butt and scoring dough. Let's do it! Throw some money in the chat, throw some fire in the chat. Let's get those comments going. Let us know your parlay that you built this week. We want to know. We want to ride with you. Even if it means just putting $1 on your little bet there, it'll be fun. We want to ride with you and support our own. We are stronger together, bettors. We are stronger together, footballers. Let's go and get them this week. Final match, New York Red Bulls versus Minnesota. Simulation suggesting New York Red Bulls would win 40% of these games. That's how it is. Boom. 40% tie, 20% for Minnesota. Vegas saying New York Red Bulls win, but I'm saying, woo, 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 woo. Hold up. We got a trap game here for New York Red Bulls. It's the end of the weekend, close of the weekend. New York Red Bulls have been riding high on a 2-game win streak. They're playing 7 goals with 1 goal against. They're playing out of their minds. Does it all come crashing to a halt here against Minnesota at home when New York Red Bulls already have their first home win of the season? They already got their debut win. Does Minnesota manage to stymie them? Spitting Fire says, I think so. So watch out for a surprise tie in New York on the end of Saturday at 6 p.m. for the final MLS game. Of course, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out here in Spitting Fire. Let us know your parlay builder in the comments below. We'll catch you on the next one of Spitting Fire. Like, subscribe, kick that like button like you're trying to score a penalty kick on Vegas. Let's go!